I wish engineers spend less time understanding the problem and more time coding, said no one ever. As an engineer, your main value isn't about writing code. AI is catching up. It's solving problems, making decisions, and turning them into code. Building features no one uses or learns from is not valuable for the business. Today we'll look at the gap between product and engineering, and we'll look into 3 practices that can help you think more pragmatically about product. Welcome to A Dev Story. So, what is product management? IBM defines product management as a strategic practice that guides the product lifecycle to meet the business goals and satisfy customer needs. Nowhere does that say only one person is responsible. But because it's a time-consuming job, a product manager or PM usually represents this function in a team. If a software development team isn't meeting the user or business needs, in other words, doing product management, then it's failing, regardless of the industry. There's often friction and jokes between engineers and PMs. On one hand, engineers want to solve as many problems as possible, efficiently and elegantly. Great for the users. On the other hand, PMs want to prioritize clearly defined, high-impact problems. Also great for the users. But those approaches can lead to, on one hand, over-engineering, which is solving many more problems than needed at once, and on the other, what I call over-producteering, which is the endless discovery and context gathering, especially as context keeps changing. Both slow down delivering value. What's the middle ground? The scientific method. The scientific method means doing a loop of observation, research, formulate an hypothesis, test the hypothesis, analyze data, and report conclusions that then feed again the observation. In product engineering teams, we need to do the same every day, sometimes with multiple hypotheses at the same time. In essence, the teams need to start with why something is needed, why is it useful, will it have an impact. This matches the observation and research part. Second, trying something, formulate ideas and trying one or a few ideas. This matches the formulate an hypothesis and testing the hypothesis. And the third one is validate often. Did we get the impact that we were aiming for? If not, why not? And this is about analyzing the data and reporting the conclusions. This is about thinking in outcome and not just tasks. As an engineer, shift from what should I build to why does this matter? If you don't know what success looks like, you cannot focus on solving the right problem. The product world has techniques to help solve this question. And today I'll mention 2. First, define metrics to measure success. And second, to find the right problem to solve. Defining metrics is easy to understand. Find measurable things that proxy the business goals you are aiming to achieve. How would you know if your users are satisfied with your solutions? The more metrics you have, the harder it is to focus on which ones are the more relevant. So there's probably one that is more important than the rest. This metric is called the North Star metric and will be the ultimate guide for most of initiatives. To understand the right problem to solve, the double diamond technique can help. It proposes a process that follows a double diamond shape with 4 phases: discovery, definition, development, and delivery. In discovery, you start understanding the problem. Then you define it more concretely before start developing potential solutions and picking one to try out and deliver. You can take as much or as little time as you need for any of the steps. The main purpose of this technique is for framing the process of finding a problem and a solution, separating what is known as the problem space from the solution space. Solutions can be wrong, but it's better to have the solution wrong than the problem wrong. So during this time, focus more on the problem space. As Martin Kagan said, fall in love with the problem, not with the solution. Say we work in a mobile app team. Our North Star metric can be the number of active users. We want to understand why many people are not using the application. So we analyze the metrics of usage for every week and we send surveys to our users. We realize that 80% of the users uninstall the applications in the first week. Now we need to find a solution. If you have a clear goal in mind, then you can start focusing into how you can affect it and provide the most effective solution. Here, I'll focus on two techniques: mapping our goal to initiatives and scoring and prioritizing initiatives. For mapping our goals to initiatives, one popular technique is GIST. GIST is a lean product management framework. It helps product teams move fast without losing alignment with the strategy. GIST stands for goals, what outcomes are we trying to achieve, ideas, what initiatives could help us reach those goals, step projects, small, low-cost experiments to test ideas, and tasks, concrete work items to implement the step projects. The main idea is to not commit to big features upfront. Instead, treat these ideas as hypotheses, test them cheaply and quickly, and only invest in those ideas that show promise. The beauty of this technique is that it helps you keep focused on the overall outcome and promotes experimenting while killing projects as soon as you know they are not going to help you achieve the goal. To prioritize which ideas or initiatives to work on first, there's multiple techniques like the value versus effort matrix, Moscow, RISE, or ICE. Today I'll focus on ICE. ICE stands for Impact, Confidence, and Ease. The idea is to find numbers for how much impact a specific solution can have, how sure we are that the solution actually will cause that impact, and how easy or cheap it would be to implement. Then multiply those three numbers and get a number to compare similar initiatives for the same problem and pick one. It is not useful to compare initiatives associated with different goals. Let's say we're trying to improve user retention for a mobile app. Increase 1 week retention from 20% to 35% by the end of Q3. We would generate a backlog of possible ideas that might help with these goals. Ideas are hypotheses, not commitments. For example, we could have 3 ideas. Idea A, add onboarding tips to help users navigate the app. Idea B, introduce a 7-day challenge. Idea C, send a daily push notification with a suggestion. You might score these ideas using ICE method and find that idea B is the most promising. Now we design a step project to test it. The step project could be something like building a lightweight version of the challenge, just a banner and 7 links to the challenges, 1 per day, without any backend tracking. We can run it as a 2-week experiment with 50% of the new users, and the goal of the step project is to validate whether this increases 1 week retention. We'll break the step project into engineering and design tasks. We create a new banner component on home screen, link to 7 existing challenges in order, and we set up the A/B test framework. And this would be our sprint work. This is about closing the loop, not assuming that your feature worked just because it was shipped. This is probably the most important part and the most often ignored. Make sure to build for measurability. Include logs, tracking, metrics, A/B testing, or even surveys when you deliver your solution to make sure that you had the impact that you were aiming for. Here we go back to the goal we defined and compare it. Did our idea work? If it didn't, why didn't it? What did we learn? What follow-ups do we need to do now? We need to go back to the process, try something else, or create a new goal maybe. In our example, let's say we measure after implementing the solution and we see that retention increased from 20% to 30% after 1 week for the people in the test. It's not yet where we want it to be, but it still is great news. We have now more confidence to invest more on the 7 days challenges idea that we picked before. Building successful products requires balancing actions with insights. Solving the wrong problem can lead to failure, but overthinking without trying anything can also stall progress. Stay user-focused, but keep moving. Start with why, try something, and validate often. This was an introductory video to a pragmatic view on product management for engineers. I left some links in the description section for some books and other resources that I found useful. If you want me to expand on any topic, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Staying technical is important even if you take the management path. There are many resources that can help you keep your technical skills up to date. Today, I want to tell you about Code Crafters. Code Crafters create advanced level programming challenges for software engineers. These are very complete and in-depth, and the content and approaches are reviewed by top talent. They have great hands-on tutorials like build your own Redis or build your HTTP server. You can also improve your programming language skills with one of the more than 15 trainings focused on language. I've partnered with them and you can get 40% using this link. It's also in the description. Happy hacking!